In some videos, I teach. In others, I scape or present other scapers to you. This will be a different kind of video. I will try to explain to you how I approach the creative process of aquascaping. There was only one video on this topic, the concept art tutorial from a year ago. I'll link that in the description. I'm going to mostly talk about the contest level aquascaping today, but I am convinced that many beginners will profit from what I have to say. Do I have your attention still? Great! Welcome to the beautiful world of aquascaping. Creativity. Some people have it. Old people can learn it. Aquascaping is a creative hobby. The word scaping means you'll build something. That is a creative process. Arguably, fishcaping is not creative. The aquarium hobby, in general, is not a creative hobby. Not that there's anything wrong with it, it's just about something else. Okay, so I'm not saying that aquascaping is superior to the old school fishkeeping. It is different. With that said, all of you who follow me for a longer time know that I value creativity more than anything. Please understand that this is my way only, and that I respect those who keep fish solely, this is important, solely for their pet qualities. I'm going to give you the very general creativity categories of my biggest idol and teacher from the University of Film Arts, the very famous Hungarian psychologist and author of many books, Popper Péter, or pronounced in English, Peter Popper. He said there are 5 categories of people. The first one are the creative people. Their creation, it could be any type of creation really, is valued by many. They are considered leaders in their field, people love their work. They are painters, musicians, aquascapers, in our case. Second category, those who are not creative or not happy with their creation will become very good and successful businessmen or businesswomen. They will make a lot of money. They will build empires, giving work to many, many people. They will create wealth. Those who do not succeed in that will be very, very good family-oriented people. Fathers, mothers, uncles, friends, everyone will love them. And they will be able to give a lot of good things to all those around them. Those who cannot do that will be very good do-it-yourself people. Give them a plastic bottle and they will be able to do a nice aquarium for you. He did not use that aquarium analogy, but a similar one. They will learn the attention and respect of people with what they can achieve, with just a few tools. I'm not going to mention those 6 million views do-it-yourself aquarium videos again on YouTube. Whoops, I just did. The last category is those who are not able to do any of the above. They will be alcoholics. Before you start to put yourself or me in any of those groups above, please know that Peter Popper also said that these categories are not exclusive in anybody and one can shift between them easily. Do I still have your attention? I'm really sorry, you can't skip the waffle on this video. Peter, our editor, told me that I'm excusing myself too much in our videos and that he usually edits out all the disclaimers, haha. Well, here's another disclaimer for you. There will always be people who want to see action, who want instant gratification, answers. These are the people who get offended by me talking bullshit at the beginning of the videos, and they want the direct answer to why they have algae, for example. Actually, I'm talking about one specific comment under our algae video. That commenter did not realize that I am not able to tell you why anybody has algae. Aquariums are complicated systems, and there's no universal answer or a chart you can study to know what you have to do in order to get rid of algae. You need to find the root cause, which is specific from tank to tank, even from scape to scape, even from day to day in one specific aquarium's life. I'm going to give you another quick quote from the Canadian-Hungarian doctor Gabor Mate. This is the quote: "We tend to like to accept the simple, easy to understand explanations, and we like to search for direct cause and effect relationships. The beautiful, complicated life not always matches these easy reductions." Hello, case with the algae. The same is true with creativity. There's no clear answer to how you can be creative with your layout, but there are always ways to learn. In this video, I'm talking about some of the ways, but there's a really great tutorial on this channel that will boost your creativity. It is the 7 times world champion Josh Sims Masterclass. Some people will not know the rules, but will compose their layouts according to the rule of thirds. The precise terminology is golden ratio. They never studied the picture composition rules, detailed in another video of mine, gonna link that in the description too. It's the aquarium layout tutorial. Those are the naturals. I know one. His name is Victor. Well, he studied a bit, still a natural for me. This art form of aquascaping is getting older. Those of you who studied art history know exactly what I'm talking about. Fine arts went through different stages in the course of their history. In aquascaping, fish keeping started with just a couple of plants in a tank. Then we had the Dutch style. Then we had the classic nature aquarium style by Mr. Takashi Amano. And that evolved into a more sophisticated use of hardscape, still by Mr. Takashi Amano. Then came the diorama style, then came the modern creative style. Then, well, we saw a combination of those styles in one layout. We arrived to what I call the developed form stage in aquascaping. I'm a thinker type. I will analyze everything, and that will determine my approach towards creativity. I can learn the rules, and I will only break them after I apply them successfully. But this is how I work. But first, I learn. I learn from nature, observing the valleys, the rivers, the rock formations. I will learn from the world's best scapers, looking at the International Aquatic Plant Layout Contest entries and analyzing them one by one. I will learn from photographers, painters, artists. I am purposefully using the word learning here, not getting inspired by them. That will come later. At first, I had to study their picture composition rules, the viewing angle of things. Not only I had to learn about the different ways of picture composition, I also had to learn the specifics of planted tanks, like the importance of shadows. It was the Japanese legend, the double IAPLC champion Takayuki Fukada, who came up with that concept. Or the creative use of reflection on the side glasses of a planted tank used by Josh Sim, and now this year by Steve Chung, IAPLC gold medalist too. He used the reflection in the ponds he created. You need to create depth by scaling things. You need to create a center of attention to make everything else point towards that center in the scape. You need to hide the back edges of the glass. You don't want to see them in the picture. Their artificial straight lines would catch the attention. Invisible black edges will also make the tank look bigger. And the last point, you need to use the available space in your tank fully. You need to build the scape vertically. We also learned that from Josh Sim's masterclass. Without further ado, let's look at a couple of examples. I'm about to scape a 120p tank that is 120 by 45 by 45 centimeters or 47 by 18 by 18 inches with depth height. That is not the ideal contest tank size. For many, including myself, the 120 by 60 by 50 would be the ideal size. We'll do a tank with those dimensions in the future too, I promise. I have my inspiration folder open here. I'm really sorry, I have no idea where this picture is coming from. It's a really famous place that I know, so some of you guys will remember. You can comment below where was this taken, because I tend to collect all kinds of pictures from all over the internet, from Google, from Flickr, the photo collection page. Currently I'm exploring the ways to create an innovative style in how we look onto a scape. So a different perspective from the usual one. Right now we're looking onto this with a reflection. This could be created in the back with hardscape built around it. This would be very interesting. The same concept is visible on this picture, and I was really intrigued by the use of the stones, or by the placement of the stones, and how the water would flow down, and I was thinking, how could we create this? This picture, however, is the different perspective, the perspective from the side of the tank, as I explained to you. So I'm thinking of doing a layout actually that looks good from the side. I really like the fantasy world. I really like the science fiction world mood. This one is a little bit similar to the Vortex scape created in the 2019 IAPLC by a Mexican very talented aquascaper, and also that inspired our friend Albert from Spain to do the this year's ranked number 4 IAPLC scape. This one is a lot similar to that, with the center of attention, the lava that comes out in the background. Obviously we cannot create lava, but now we're talking about creativity and about new ways, so I really like the creative way of using a printed background, backlit printed background. And also, while we're talking about the backgrounds, I really like the idea of the reflection in Josh Sim's last year's grand prize winning work. You can see that there's a different layout on the two sides of the picture. I really like, and I've been looking at the use of driftwood or ironwood, in this case, in our case, that would somehow replicate the use of rocks. The more you will realize that this is actually a wood that is in a very unnatural position, a fallen down trunk or something, and the tips that are hanging out would be very edgy, so it would give a lot of tension to the scape. Same with his 2020 IAPLC work, ranked 3. I really love that. Also creative use of reflections. He used black background here. Black background is not very common in contest aquascaping because most scapers would use white background. That would add a lot of depth to the tank, and it would also constitute the center of attention. He didn't do that. A good example of a good perspective, when you're first looking at this picture, you have no idea what the perspective is. Very nice lines of roots, very nice line of path. The only problem about this picture is that you don't have a center of attention, an end point, as Josh Sim would call it. Moving on, Fantasyland again. I really like the way that this perspective is closed by these big cliffs, and I really like the way that you've got something very small, very delicate at the bottom, which actually is the center of attention, and as soon as you realize that, the whole strength and the whole heaviness of the whole structure above it will be accentuated. The big trunk reminds me a little bit of Mr. Amano's tree. I really like the use of a very strong layout. I really wanted to think about how the branches of this go around and how this looks like. Maybe I want to do a layout like that. You've got the green in the background and you have no green in the foreground, so that would be also very interesting to have. A very brownish dark dirt-like foreground, and you have a very green and lush background. A big shout out to our friends from Indonesia. You guys are probably the most creative nation in the world when it comes to aquascaping. Back to my humble tank from many years ago, which had no fish. I actually submitted this to the IPSC with no fish in it, and I still got rank 50. What the heck? It had a couple of creative elements in it. First of all, here's the background. It's a graphic design made by a friend of mine based on the layout I created before. So what we did is we created the hardscape, as you see here, and then I tried to do something in the background. The main inspiration for this was the movie Riddick. You can see that the center of attention is white. You can see that every rock, which is actually handcrafted by a sculpture friend of mine, and nobody did that before, having sculpted rocks. This is basalt, and you know how basalt is. It's big chunks of rocks, no shape whatsoever, and it was handcrafted to look like this. We realized that we can gradually backlight the background with the top dark and the bottom not so dark. And this is how I actually managed to hide the back edges a little bit and to hide the side edges also a little bit. And I was also lucky because all the oxygen bubbles that actually were released by the plants were looking like stars on the sky. So this gave a very strange perspective to the whole layout. Point of no return. This is the IPSC image. It did not rank well for a number of reasons. I believe to know those reasons. First of all, you have no perspective in this tank. Well, there's some perspective because the background elements are smaller against the white background, but you don't have those layers. You should have, or I should have, built more layers. Additionally, there's too many things to look at. Also, there's no shadow in this tank. You don't have the impact of a big, powerful, shadowy area. That would give a lot more drama to the scape. This is how the hardscape looked. At the beginning, you can see that the open space is even more accentuated. And then let's move to the inspiration after you saw. First of all, it's a Chinese tank. This is why I thought that the structure of pillars holding up a big structure of rock would be interesting in a layout. And then I started doing a Photoshop work of Fukada-san's work from last year, which was a Grand Champion work, assembling it together with some wood pieces. This is not an actual aquarium. It looks like an actual aquarium, but it's not. It's a combination of Fukada's tank mirrored on both sides. You see that this is the same path here. I just wanted to add some perspective to the whole thing. But the structure of the scape that you just saw is based on this one. I completely did not use any branches or anything like that. I should have. So this is a much better scape and it would have ranked much, much higher. I was unable to execute this. And this is the original image from Fukada-san. You can see how important it is to have big, dark spots everywhere in this image. And actually Josh Sim has talked about this in his masterclass video. I sent Juan Pucades, who's by my very subjective opinion, the best aquascaper in Europe. I really have the deepest respect for Juan, and I really want to have his opinion all the time that I'm building very sophisticated scapes. So I sent my foreground to him, and he sent me back this picture, explaining to me my foreground is in the top. As you can see that there's no real story happening there. There are some details, but not enough details. If you look at all of the other foregrounds, you will see that there's a clear story in it. You have more things to look at, you have diversity, you have a lot of lines. Let's go to the saguaro forest scape that I did many years ago, and that was actually my highest rank at IAPSC, number 46. Even Mr. Amano mentioned my scape later on, saying that he never would have imagined to see any deserts brought on the water by scapers. I really like the formation, the cliff formation and the colors of this. So I took this picture because I wanted to replicate this structure, this rock structure. And I kind of did. And also you can see that there's an endpoint in the golden ratio on the right side. And then the saguaro cacti came. I used some wires that I shaped into cacti form, and I put some line on it, and then I put some cladophora moss. This is day one, and this is the final picture. Talk about creativity. That year, one of our Croatian friends who also did the saguaro cacti layout, and he got, I think, rank number 4. His scape was an absolutely filled up scape versus this one, which was a little bit empty. And I did not know how important it is to build your scape vertically at that point. Well, I learned. The tank that I just built was based and actually inspired by these beautiful rock formations from China. Victor is really happy to Photoshop and using Photoshop creatively to put in certain elements in other viewers or even our tanks as well. And he puts in these reds photoshopped in the back and in the left to see how this cape will have more depth by adding a red layer behind everything else. So I really think that creativity is really boosted by the good use of Photoshop. Again, Indonesia, oh my God, look at this. Vortex combined with depth, a clear story, a clear endpoint, a full scape built up. You don't have the sides visible too much in a nanoscape. And I do want to finish this video by showing you a place from Hungary. This is the Megyerhegyi Tengerszem. I don't know how to say that in English. It's near Sárospatak, a very nice place in Hungary. And you can see that I actually saved this picture like 2 years ago. It was taken by a friend of mine, Daniel Varga, a very, very good Hungarian photographer, and he allowed me to use this picture. And I was thinking at that time of the creative use of reflections like a pond in an aquarium. Right, I hope you like this. I'm going to start scaping the 120p tank very, very soon. In one of the videos, you're going to be part of the whole creative process, the hands-on experience. I thought that it would be useful to do a brainstorming kind of video for you guys to know how we think and how we want to have knowledge and inspiration for our planted tanks. If you did like this video, don't forget to push that like button. Don't forget to subscribe if you didn't do so yet. There are many viewers who did not subscribe to the channel. That would help the channel enormously if you did. Alright, we have a membership. Don't forget that you can support the video production here, and we'll see you next week. Goodbye.